You are watching
CRDN
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Good evening. You're watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. Today we're going to start off with some global stories from the UAE, as well as some stories regarding Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. Authorities from the United Arab Emirates have confirmed that an Iranian missile struck a commercial vessel affiliated with Abu Dhabi's state-owned energy company ADNOC, with the ship which was moving through the Strait of Hormuz at the time. Officials reported no casualties from the early morning strike, but the incident highlights the ongoing danger along one of the world's most important shipping routes. In a public statement, ADNOC reported that more than a dozen of its ships had been targeted by drones and missile strikes since the broader military conflicts escalated in February. These ongoing disruptions have dramatically reduced commercial traffic through that waterway, which usually carries nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. The attack was launched even as Iranian representatives and Omani officials reported progress on talks aimed at establishing a safer shipping lane through that area. Iranian leadership has maintained that fully reopening the route will require broader agreements, including the removal of economic sanctions and an end to foreign naval blockades in the region. International shipping monitoring groups continue to advise extreme caution for commercial ships traveling through Gulf waters as efforts to secure the safe passage continue. These ongoing attacks in the Strait of Hormuz are creating real concerns for energy markets and consumers around the world. With nearly 1/5 of the world's oil moving through this narrow passage, repeated disruptions to shipping traffic are pushing crude oil prices higher and higher. Energy analysts report that shipping companies are now facing much higher insurance costs to operate in those Gulf waters, while others are taking longer, far more expensive routes around Africa to keep their crews and cargo safe. These rising transportation expenses directly impact regular working families, as higher shipping costs quickly translate into increased prices at the gas pump and higher costs for basic goods. Economic experts warn that if commercial traffic through the waterway remains restricted for an extended period, the resulting price spikes could drive up global inflation and put extra financial strain on lower and middle income households. International economic organizers are urging world leaders to prioritize diplomatic solutions to clear the waterway, emphasizing that open trade routes are essential to keeping energy affordable and protecting the global economy, the global stability of the economy. The Trump administration responded firmly to the recent strikes against commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, warning that the United States military will take direct action to secure the waterway. In statements following the incidents, President Donald Trump declared that American naval forces would target Iranian infrastructure, including power grids and key bridges, for any future attacks against merchant vessels in the area. Now, the White House has stated that military operations conducted alongside regional partners aim to neutralize Iranian offensive positions and restore safe transit through the passage of Hormuz. President Trump emphasized that securing global trade in the region protects important international interests, while suggesting that foreign allies should help reimburse the United States for costs of providing naval protection in those Gulf waters. Administration officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, confirmed that while the military continues its defensive operations to protect commercial traffic, the United States remains open to diplomatic solutions. However, officials stressed that any formal agreement will require Iran to guarantee complete freedom of navigation and to end all threats against civilian trade. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be right back.
You are watching Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching Civil rights, daily news, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching CRDN. Civil rights, daily news, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
You've been watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. Continuing on with our global stories, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan have signed a major security pact in Mecca today, establishing a mutual defense framework among the three nations. The Mecca Joint Defense Agreement was signed by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, following a joint defense summit at Al Safa Palace. Under the core provision, the agreement, an armed attack against any one of the three participating countries would then be treated as an attack against all three countries. The agreement formalizes and expands upon existing bilateral military ties, including a previous defense pact established between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. Beyond collective deterrence, the text outlines plans for expanded military coordination, joint defense industry manufacturing, and enhanced counterterrorism collaboration. Official statements issued by all three governances describe the pact as purely defensive in nature. Representatives from Saudi Arabia and Turkey stated that the agreement does not target any specific nation, nor does it establish a new military bloc or replace existing international partnerships. Now, the citing comes amidst ongoing regional security challenges in West Asia, including broader regional conflicts and security threats to Gulf shipping lanes. As we mentioned before, if you've been with us, we were talking about the Strait of Hormuz and how there have been attacks launched on the UAE. So this will now be in place to protect Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan from these attacks. Historically, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan, all three of those countries, have shared close bilateral security and economic ties, but their alignments were rarely unified into a single agreement due to competing regional interests and shifting diplomatic rivalries. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan maintain the longest and the most formal security relationship among the three nations. Dating back to the 1960s, Pakistan has regularly deployed military advisors, pilots, and ground troops to Saudi Arabia to assist in border defense and train Saudi personnel. The partnership deepened in September of 2025 when both governances and both governments signed the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement, which established a formal bilateral defense pact. Under that agreement, Pakistan deployed troops, air defense systems, and fighter aircraft to the kingdom to bolster Saudi air defenses. Meanwhile, Turkey and Pakistan have maintained strong diplomatic and military cooperation since the Cold War, initially through joint participation in the 1955 Central Treaty Organization, also known as the Baghdad Pact. Over recent decades, the two countries expanded defense industrial partnerships, engaging in joint naval construction projects, military officer exchange programs, and aerospace technology transfers. Relationships between Saudi Arabia and Turkey fluctuated significantly over the past 2 decades. While the two nations aligned on certain diplomatic issues during the 1990s and early 2010s, ties deteriorated sharply following the 2017 Qatar diplomatic crisis and the 2018 killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in Istanbul. High-level diplomatic relations began to normalize back in 2022, though economic agreements and defense procurement talks and coming to agreements regarding defense industrial meetings with Pakistan starting in 2023. Obviously, this is a situation that we're continuing to monitor as they just signed this act. So making sure that they're sticking to it is the next set of stipulations that we're going to look into. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be right back.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. Watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. You're watching Civil Rights Daily News. We have an update coming from a tragic story in Twin Falls, Idaho, where police have released new video footage showing the events of a mass shooting at a local In-N-Out burger that left 3 people dead and 7 others wounded. Police Chief Matthew Hicks presented the edited security and body camera footage during a news conference describing the attack as violent, frightening, and deeply traumatic for the entire community. The footage reveals that the 24-year-old gunman walked up to the restaurant drive-thru window multiple times and opened fire, killing an employee. 10 people in total were struck by gunfire inside the building, directly outside of the building, and along nearby roads before the shooter took his own life as officers closed in. Along with the timeline of events, police highlighted the brave actions of several individuals who helped prevent further harm to citizens. An off-duty state trooper inside the building exchanged fire with a gunman through a window while guiding workers to safety. Outdoors, a nearby store owner confronted the shooter on a walking trail and distracted him, giving fleeing employees and visitors extra time to escape. Twin Falls authorities and federal investigators continue to look into what caused the attack, as no motive has been established. Data from national research groups, including the Gun Violence Archive, shows that mass shootings in the United States have increased slightly this year compared to the same time frame last year. This increase comes during an unusual moment, as overall violent crime and general homicides across the country have actually continued to fall to some of their lowest levels in history. Safety experts and criminologists explain that the mass casualty events are behaving differently than routine street crime, driven largely by how easy it is and how quickly to buy and carry a high-capacity firearm. Public health officials and researchers point directly to changes in state gun laws as major factors in these trends. Over the past decade, dozens of states have repealed long-standing gun safety regulations. Today, 29 states allow permitless carry, meaning that residents can carry hidden handguns in public without going through a background check, getting a permit, or completing any safety trainings. Studies tracking these legislative rollbacks show that states eliminating permit requirements and safe storage rules see higher rates of gun violence over time. Researchers explain that when basic guardrails are removed, intense personal arguments, domestic disputes, or mental health crises are far more likely to escalate into deadly mass casualty events. At the federal level, Donald Trump his approach to firearm policy centers on expanding access to gun ownership and removing federal restrictions. Earlier this year, President Trump signed an executive order titled Protecting Second Amendment Rights, instructing the Department of Justice to dismantle regulations introduced during the previous administration. As part of this effort, federal agencies ended strict enforcement rules for commercial gun sellers, made rapid-fire trigger devices legal again, and reduced tax rates on several types of firearm accessories. Donald Trump often frames gun ownership as a core constitutional right and an essential tool for personal defense, arguing that these restrictions only punish law-abiding citizens while failing to deter criminals. To address public violence, his policy platform focuses on increasing physical security in schools, expanding law enforcement presence in cities, and reforming mental health systems. Still, gun safety advocates and medical researchers warn that rolling back these federal oversight rules makes communities less safe. Critics point out that removing checks on gun dealers and easing rules on rapid-fire technology increases the overall flow of dangerous weapons into the public spaces, making it significantly harder for law enforcement to track illegal firearms and prevent mass casualty events. As we mentioned, this was a very tragic situation, and the gunman was unfortunately not captured. He was deceased on scene. We'll have more on this on our website as well as on our social media. With the Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be right back.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. are watching Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Good afternoon. You're watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. A 41-year-old man from El Salvador, Edwin Giovanni Lopez Cornejo, died after suffering a medical emergency while in federal custody at the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark, New Jersey. His death has sparked renewed calls for investigations into conditions at the privately operated facility. According to statements from his family, Lopez Cornejo suffered from chronic medical conditions, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and seizures. Family members allege that facility staff repeatedly failed to provide him with his required prescription medications. Relatives stated that Lopez Cornejo reported feeling dizzy, sick, and experiencing numbness in his arm and face in the days leading up to his collapse in the facility cafeteria. That's where emergency responders were eventually called. Department of Homeland Security representatives disputed the family's allegations, stating that Lopez Cornejo received proper care from medical staff and that emergency protocols were followed immediately when he collapsed. However, federal lawmakers, local elected officials, and civil rights organizations are urging state and federal authorities to open a formal investigation into the death, pointing to ongoing complaints that detainees regarding delayed medical care, poor living conditions, and a lack of operational oversight inside the facility. Delaney Hall is operated by GEO Group, a massive private prison corporation running the facility under a 15-year federal contract worth roughly $1 billion. The corporation oversees daily management, security, and medical services for nearly 1,200 detainees held at the Newark site. The company maintains that its processing centers provide round-the-clock medical care and adhere to strict professional accreditation standards, but its operating model has made it a central target for local advocates who argue that private, for-profit companies prioritize corporate returns over human safety. The facility has been the site of continuous protests for several months now, with local activists, family members, and community organizations gathering outside of its gates. Inside the building, hundreds of detainees launched hunger and labor strikes to protest what they describe as severe medical neglect, spoiled food, and overcrowded conditions. These internal strikes fueled larger daily demonstrations outdoors where protesters blocked entry roads and transportation vehicles to disrupt facility operations. The standoff led to growing friction between local authorities and state leaders, as well as federal officers. Demonstrators and journalists have faced mass arrests and crowd control measures during clashes with law enforcement outside the gates. At the same time, the state of New Jersey filed a lawsuit against the GEO Group after company management denied state of health inspectors the entry to audit living conditions and medical units. The death of Edwin Giovanni Lopez Cornejo has intensified these ongoing demonstrations, with activists demanding the immediate release of medically vulnerable individuals and the complete closure of the facility. Over the past several months, federal immigration enforcement has undergone significant policy shifts, moving toward broader authority, increased funding, and stricter operational rules. Following a major $70 billion federal budget allocation, Immigration and Customs Enforcement expanded its workforce and detention operations nationwide. As a result, daily detention numbers have reached record highs earlier this year, and the agency expanded its use of large-scale private facilities and regional staging centers to process individuals. If you remember, Alligator Alley was transformed into Alligator Alcatraz, which was a center that is currently in the process of being completely taken out of play. These operational shifts have also changed how officers carry out enforcement in local communities. Federal directives expanded workplace audits and increased formal partnerships with local law enforcement, multiplying the number of state officers deputized to assist with arrests. At the same time, agencies updated procedural rules to tighten administrative oversight. Federal officials now have the authority to deny incomplete immigration applications without first requesting missing documents, and international student visas have shifted from flexible stays to fixed expiration dates. While federal leadership maintains that these updated guidelines streamline enforcement and focus on national security, the rapid change of pace has created significant debate across the country. Civil rights groups and local leaders express ongoing concerns about due process, community disruption, and transparency, leading a growing number of states and cities to pass local laws restricting how much their officials can cooperate with federal immigration agents. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be back.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. The Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as United States Attorney General in a 50-49 vote early Saturday morning. Blanche, who served as President Donald Trump's lead defense attorney and previously held the role of Deputy Attorney General, assumes permanent leadership of the Justice Department after serving as acting head following the departure of Pam Bondi in April. The confirmation vote strictly follows party lines, with all Senate Democrats alongside two Republican senators, Suzanne Collins and Lisa Murkowski, voting against the vote. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy provided the final deciding vote to pass the nomination following several days of debate. During confirmation proceedings, supporters cited Blanche's background as a former assistant United States attorney in New York and his private practice experience as key qualifications to manage the department's workforce of 100,000 employees. Critics raised concerns regarding his prior representation of the president in personal and criminal trials and questioned specific administrative decisions made during his time as acting attorney general. With the Senate vote finalized, Blanche officially takes office as the nation's top law enforcement official as Congress begins its summer recess. We'll have more on this and the decisions that the Attorney General will be making in the coming months and years of this administration. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be back.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Tune into Civil Rights Daily News, TikTok, YouTube, and our website to catch CRDN Sidelines with Cam and Reggie. All your sports news reporting on a dime. Catch CRDN Sidelines every Wednesday starting May 6th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Catch CRDN Real Take with Samia Charles live Sunday mornings from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. starting May 10th. For Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I'm Jade Lopez.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. You've been watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. A Federal Aviation Administration equipment failure at a key regional control center forced a temporary airspace shutdown across 10 Midwestern states. The outage occurred at the Minneapolis Air Route Traffic Control Center, which manages high-altitude air traffic over an area spanning nearly 400,000 square miles. At approximately 2 o'clock local time, telecommunications and navigation systems at the facility went offline, causing the center to declare an ATZ-0 status and lose primary radar and radio contact with aircraft in flight. To maintain safety, air traffic controllers implemented immediate ground stops at regional hubs, including Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, where rerouting and diverting airborne flights toward adjacent airspaces and centers outside of the affected region. The outage impacted flight operations across Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Missouri, Kansas, Michigan, Nebraska, and Illinois. So many of those central states were affected by this. Radar and communication capabilities were fully restored after approximately 2 hours, and the FAA confirmed that no safety incidents occurred during the interruption. However, the temporary shutdown resulted in hundreds of flight delays and cancellations that persisted into the evening as airlines repositioned air traffic and flight crews. Federal aviation authorities have launched an investigation to determine the root cause of the system failure. And if you've noticed that flights on most airlines have become more and more complicated, you would be correct. The performance of the U.S. commercial aviation system is directly tied to the federal policy decisions, workforce management, and infrastructure investments. Under the current administration, policies surrounding the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, have influenced systemic flight delays, cancellations, and issues with air traffic control reliability. Workforce reductions initiated through early administrative efficiency initiatives impacted probationary staff, support staff across federal agencies, including aviation safety assistants and maintenance mechanics. While certified air traffic controllers were exempt from direct layoffs, industry organizations and unions noted that reductions in secondary technical support worsened operations strain on air traffic facilities. Additionally, unpaid working periods during federal budget standoffs led to increased controller fatigue, missed shifts, and temporary facility closures, which forced the FAA to mandate flight reductions of up to 10% at major national hubs. The administration highlighted that older technological vulnerabilities, pointing to decades-old radar, telecommunication, and copper wiring systems, were primary causes for high-profile system outages. In response, the Department of Transportation unveiled a $31 billion infrastructure modernization strategy alongside the new FAA controller workforce plan, aiming to hire over 2,000 controllers annually and to transition control systems from analog to digital networks. To manage recurring air traffic bottlenecks in congested airspace corridors, such as New York, where we're at, and Midwest regions, major commercial carriers routinely instituted schedule cuts. So airlines cited controller staffing and shortages and equipment reliability issues at FAA regional centers as primary drivers for reducing daily departure volumes to protect overall flight safety and schedule integrity. So if you've had a flight cancellation or a flight delay in the past year or so, I would say it's probably due to these cuts and the restructure of the FAA system. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm MALIYAH Simone. We'll be back.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Good afternoon. You've been watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. We're going to move on to some entertainment news today. Ariana Grande clarified some confusion for her plans of taking a break from the public eye after fans and critics alike began raising questions regarding the singer's overall health. Grande announced she will step back from the public scrutiny and visibility following the conclusion of her Eternal Sunshine Tour on September 1st in London. The announcement came through her representatives after weeks of heightened online speculation and commentary regarding her physical health and appearance, which escalated following the release of her music video for the single Petal. As part of her planned hiatus, Grande also withdrew from her scheduled role in the upcoming London West End revival of Stephen Sondheim's musical Sunday in the Park with George, in which she was set to star alongside Jonathan Bailey. Producers and the Barbican Center confirmed her departure, stating that they fully support her decision to prioritize time away from the public spotlight. Addressing the audience directly during a concert in Chicago, Grande clarified that her decision to take a break was not a sudden reaction to recent online discourse. She explained that the hiatus was planned well in advance as a deliberate effort to set personal boundaries after years of living under the continuous public scrutiny. Her representatives pushed back against speculation regarding her physical well-being, stating that Grande maintains a demanding performance schedule and that requirements are made that they're significant and physical athleticism is required for those performances, that she looks forward to completing the remaining tour dates healthily and on a high note before taking her planned break. You've been watching Civil Rights Daily News. I'm MALIYAH Simone. Tune in on Tuesday for our next broadcast. Have a good night.
You are watching CRDN Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Tune into Civil Rights Daily News, TikTok, YouTube, and our website to catch CRDN Sidelines with Cam and Reggie. All your sports news reporting on a dime. Catch CRDN Sidelines every Wednesday starting May 6th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Catch CRDN Real Take with Samia Charles live Sunday mornings from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. starting May 10th. For Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I'm Jade Lopez.